Ready, set, let's go. Hello and welcome to the Unashamedly You podcast, a space to enlighten, encourage, and empower you to go out and unashamedly be who God is calling you to be. I am your host, Jamie Herndon. I pray you hear less of me and more of Him as you listen to today's episode. Let's grow together. Hello and welcome to the very first Unashamedly You podcast, episode number 1. And we are so grateful that you are here in this space. What is Unashamedly You? It is a community of kingdom-minded women going after their God-given purpose. We have so many people asking, what is Unashamedly You? What is it about? Who's it for? Who is Unashamedly You talking to? Who is it going to help? Why should I listen to this podcast? Why should I be a part of the Unashamedly You community? I'm going to let you know a little bit about what Unashamedly You is all about and why you should be a part of this amazing community. Unashamedly You is all about 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Unashamedly You is all about studying to show yourself approved to God, needing not to be ashamed. If you are in truth, and if you are showing yourself approved to God, then you don't need to be ashamed. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at in life, no matter what God has given you to do, you don't need to be ashamed about it. You need to be grateful and you need to be going after exactly what God has put in your path. Unashamedly You is all about enlightening, encouraging, and empowering you to go out and do that. Enlightening, given the knowledge and understanding to help you on your journey, to help you on this path that you're on, whatever it is that God is calling you to, that you would have knowledge and understanding to help you. Encourage, offer support and help, to encourage you along the way and let you know that, sometimes doing God's will and God's work gets lonely. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. Sometimes there's, different reasons why we get discouraged along the way. And Unashamedly You is going to be here to offer support and help and encourage you, to empower, give you the confidence you need to know you are not alone in starting something or going after something, to have that confidence. Who wants confidence to be able to go out and do what God is calling and asking you to do? We all want that, right? So that is what Unashamedly You is all about. It's all about going out and being who and what God's calling you to be, and not looking to the left or to the right. Unashamedly You got started because there is a lot of noise. Let's be honest. Let's be for real. There's a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of loud. Social media is loud, and posts are loud. People are loud. Opinions are loud. Podcasts can be loud, and we've got all this noise going on telling us exactly what to do. We've got books. We've got more knowledge than we've ever had before. In some ways, that can be good, but it's loud. It's a lot of exactly what we should and shouldn't be doing. There's not a lot of quiet. And in the quiet, in that still small voice, is exactly when we hear what we're supposed to be doing and what God is showing us to do. And so Unashamedly You is here to enlighten, encourage, and empower you to get quiet and to go after what God is calling you to go after. Now, let's chat a little bit about me. I am Jamie Herndon, your host, and I am forever grateful that you are here in this space with me and taking the time out of your day to listen to some of the things that Unashamedly You is bringing and some of the things that Unashamedly You is about. And I couldn't be more grateful to have you here. I am a mom of 3. I have 2 beautiful little girls and a wild little boy who rocked our princess world completely. Forever grateful for it. I'm married to Matt. We have been married for 15 years. We live in Little Rock, Arkansas. Both were born and raised right here. We go to First Pentecostal Church in North Little Rock. I was born and raised there my whole life. Matt started coming there whenever he was in about the 6th grade, and he started coming to Calvary Academy, our church school, in 7th grade. Calvary Academy is where we really got to know each other, and we started dating then. In high school, got married at 20 and 21, complete babies. We thought we had it all figured out and the world under control. And the older you get, the more you realize the less you ever have figured out. I wouldn't be able to tell you about Unashamedly You without going back in our story and telling you a little bit about how things went in our lives and the way that God brought things about, and then how Unashamedly You came. So when I became a mom to Ada, I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. I quit my job, and we were rocking along. We were in that surviving stage, not thriving. And I'm sure some of you may know exactly what stage I'm talking about. It was okay. It was fine. We knew we were giving some things up for me to be able to stay at home, for us to be able to live on one income. As time rocked on, we ended up having our second baby. Evie was born with E. coli in her bloodstream. She had a lot of doctor bills that started coming from that. We had a lot of things going on at that time. There's a saying, when it rains, it pours, for a reason. We were at the point and place in our life where it was pouring. We actually had been praying and believing that we would be givers in the kingdom. And we were praying for God to help us be givers and to be able to do more for the kingdom of God and for his work. And we felt that burden on us. God started taking income away from us at a very rapid pace. Our pastor at the time, our bishop now, he was preaching a lot of messages about a process. And he kept saying, someone's in the process. And Matt and I would leave every service saying, he's preaching to us. We're in a process. We don't know what it is or why God has us here, but there is a reason why he has us in this process. And we trusted him, and we just kept believing that he was going to bring us through. And so things had gotten to the point where I was going to have to go back to work. And I'll be honest with you, I was devastated. I had 2 babies. I didn't want to leave them and go back to work. But it seemed like our only option at the time. My mom actually talked me into trying a multi-level marketing company. Some people have an idea about what they think about multi-level marketing companies, and it's totally fine. I get that they can be done very wrong, but they can also be done very right. I did not have any perception of a multi-level marketing company. I had never done one really before. I didn't know a lot about them. But I did know that I talked to people and they were making legit money with this company. And I was praying for a way to be able to stay home with my kids and make an income. It just felt like God was answering my prayers. So I started out with this company and started building a team. It was absolutely amazing. God was blessing it in every way. And it was just a godsend. It really was. But in that time, whenever I was growing that team and starting with this company, and I had just gotten started, not everyone was supportive, to say the least. I didn't really think that people were going to be just super supportive of me, but I also didn't think they were going to be downright mean. And a lot of people were. And so you may say, well, why are you sharing this part of your story? Because I have to let you know, someone that's listening to this right now, you may be in the same situation, in the same place where you're starting something and people are not being supportive, and they may be being mean, or they're not being nice about what you're doing, or you thought you would have more support than what you had. I want you to know this is a place of encouragement, remember, and I want to encourage you that if you're starting something that God has given you, then it's time to grow your confidence in him instead of others. And that's what we had to do. Was I had to put my head down, keep my mouth shut at times whenever it was really hard, keep showing up in front of people at times whenever it was really hard, and just keep going and growing in confidence in God. I would not take back any of those instances and times where it was very lonely, where my feelings were hurt, where I was crying. I wouldn't take back any of those moments, because I learned in that time about God confidence, about confidence in God, and that it was going to take me places that having confidence in others wasn't going to take me. So that's what we did. I just continued to trust God. I continued to grow my faith in him. I continued to believe that he was helping me every single step of the way. And we continued to grow. We grew a team of some of the most amazing women that I've ever met in my life. They were absolutely incredible women, some of my very best friends still to this day. It was a lot of fun and it was absolutely amazing. In 2020, it was a super crazy year, and God blessed our team in ways that we could never have imagined Him to bless it. We actually moved up in ranks, and we did over 100,000 in sales in 1 month. It was the best month we've ever had, and it was so awesome and so amazing. But shortly after that, God started really tugging at my heart and making me uncomfortable. Again, we've recently had an evangelist, and he preached a sermon on divine interruptions. And throughout all of this process of Unashamedly You coming about, I have seen so many times in my life where God has divinely interrupted things. A lot of times He'll do it through finances, or He'll do it through certain things that can really get our attention. God started divinely interrupting me. Again, remember, we were asking to be givers of the kingdom. God started divinely interrupting our finances to the point and place that we got uncomfortable enough to where I had started with this network marketing company, and God started being able to use it and use me and grow me through that. I was just thriving in being able to do that. God started interrupting me again. At the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, all of 2021, I just honestly felt just unhappy. It was like God was just making me extremely uncomfortable. It didn't feel right. Like it just kept feeling like I kept telling Matt, something's wrong. Like I'm needing to do something more. God is asking more of me, and I don't know what He wants. A lot of times we will be on a path and we will be going a direction, and we know God wants something more, and we're willing. Like I'm throwing my hands up like, God, I'm willing. I'm willing to do whatever you want of me and whatever you're asking of me. But it's like I didn't know what it was. And God kept me in the dark for so long, but He was pulling me away from what I was currently doing. He was entrusting me and opening doors in ways that I didn't even see, didn't even realize, to be able to do something different. In 2022, at the beginning of the year, I was talking to a friend, and I just openly told her, I'm like, look, I am feeling extremely unhappy with what I'm doing currently. I feel like God's calling me to start doing what I'm currently doing with my team, but He's calling me to do it for every woman that's in the kingdom. For kingdom-minded women that are wanting to go after things, that have goals and dreams, businesses they want to start, classes they want to start, things that they want to do, maybe not even for income, maybe things that they want to do in their church, or maybe things that God's calling them for, writing books, starting podcasts. I know all these things that are out there. There's tons of things that God is calling us to do, and tons of things that God's calling us to be. Not always just in the natural, sometimes in the spiritual as well. God is calling these women and people to a higher standard, but there's not a lot of places and spaces out there for encouragement. And for 7 years, I've been encouraging women that are on my team. I've been taking women that have zero self-esteem, or women that have never showed up on social media, and I'm training them and teaching them how to show up on social media. Women that have no confidence, I'm training them how to get confidence. Women that don't believe that they're worth anything, and I'm showing them that God has given them worth beyond what they can even know. Women that know nothing about dreaming big, and taking them from no dreams at all and showing them how to dream big and how God has so much more for them. So for 7 years, I've been doing this, and I feel like God's calling me away from a team and calling me to do this for kingdom-minded women. Now, there is a space for women out there, all walks of life and all women. And there are spaces out there that have this, that have motivation, but there wasn't a space for apostolic women. I kept feeling like that God wanted more out of me, and for me to step up and say, look, God can do anything through you if you're a willing vessel to be used by Him. God blessed us in ways with my company where we were able to give in ways we would have never been able to give. We were able to live in ways we would have never been able to live. We were praying for God to make a way, and He was divinely interrupting us and interrupting our finances to give us a new path. As soon as I started doing my company, Matt's business was blessed exponentially. It was crazy how God started blowing it up. And then God started divinely interrupting me again. And whenever He was interrupting me and slowing me down with my team, He started picking things up. Matt got into being an entrepreneur himself, and he started being able to do things, and God was picking things up for him that covered what I was slowing down with. Our life is just a bunch of puzzle pieces. and they feel so scattered. And we don't know exactly what the final picture is going to look like, but He does. And we can trust Him. We can trust that He knows exactly what it's going to look like. So for the past 7 years, Unashamedly You has been in the making. And for the past 7 years, we have been working to grow Unashamedly You without even knowing it. Without even knowing it, this community was being brought about. Without even realizing it, God was divinely interrupting things for me so that I could bring a community to kingdom-minded women going after their purpose. It's not for me to decide what your purpose is. It's not for me to decide what God's will and goal is for you, but it's for you to decide to get quiet and allow Him to speak that into your heart, and for you to study to show yourself approved to God, not needing to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth and knowing that, hey, God, what you're calling me to do, I'm here and I want to answer the call. Answering the call can be scary. That's this space. That is what Unashamedly You is all about. Here to enlighten, encourage, and empower you to get really quiet, listen to that still small voice, and unashamedly be you.